Well, maybe talk a little bit about, you said different things that you're yet interested in doing in different projects, or what's kind of, where's your heart right now?
I'm trying to work a kind of self-commissioned project involving Caribbean steel bands, like rewriting, writing modern music for Caribbean steel bands, and also working in Banda in Mexico. So that's kind of the big thing that I have on the horizon, is I'm trying to, marshal some corporate / grant support for, making a commission for myself where I get to do things like that. Like I'm very inspired. Stravinsky wrote this piece, the Ebony Concerto, which was for Woody Herman's group, and I don't know if you ever heard the recording of when they premiered it, but Woody Herman, before they play the Ebony Concerto, they're just playing this normal stuff. Then they come out and then they play something totally different. It's like he just rewires the whole thing. And so what I'm trying to do is concerts in Trinidad and Mexico, where we got a normal group that plays their normal repertoire, and then I write something that's completely
Well, that sounds familiar to me. There's something I remember you talking about with stuff you've done in New York at Symphony Space. And I remember seeing an interview where you were talking about a goal of yours being to take different audiences, like the Stravinsky audience, and then like it would come out for classical music, and then maybe the second set having Sly and the Family Stone kind of material.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that's still a passion of yours as far as...
Well, there is a social engineering aspect to what you're talking about, because, really, music stylistically has become very segregated. Like, my kids that I taught in various schools, they wouldn't listen to anything their friends didn't listen to. It was like music it wasn't an exploration of different cultures. It's like that's how they find their friends. Like if a kid likes like jam band music and he goes to the jam band concert, everybody's doing the same drugs as him, they all dressed like him, they all talk like him, my kids that like go to Bonnaroo and stuff like that. That's, there's a whole social aspect to the music. And the more that I worked in music, I found that most musics were like that, and that I wasn't like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really care who likes something. If I like it, it doesn't really matter. But most people aren't really like that.
True.
That music is almost like a social gathering. Certainly when I was playing klezmer music, that was very cultural. It wasn't about like, oh, well, let's see what's in this compositionally. It was like, no, this is a celebration of us being what we are ethnically, and that's it. And nobody else, what they expected was that nobody else would be interested in that, and then there I'd be. But I would be there because, for me, I have a Caribbean heritage that lives in me very strong. So when I play somebody else's music, I'm not trying to get that. I'm not trying to be something I'm not. I'm just interested in it. For some people that's really artificial. For me, it's not. Because the kind of objectivity that I need to write and play the way that I want to involves not being involved in that. That's what's allowed me to do many different things, is that I'm not trying to get identity from a music. A lot of people I know, when they started playing Latin music, they don't want to play anything else. They started speaking Spanish and trying to act hip and doing a lot of cocaine. And like, I was just like, no, you keep the cocaine. I'm not in it for that. As deep as I was into it, that's not why I was in it. So that's a big part of what I'm doing. I mean, we could talk about the clarinet, but the clarinet is not a big issue for me. I can play it, and I play it, but what's more, my musical issues are more about figuring out how things work and being good at that, and then trying to twist them around a little bit and being good at that. That's what Stravinsky did. That's what Bartok did with the music that he liked. He took it, he twisted it around. That's what Brahms did with that gypsy music. He took it, but he didn't leave it like that. He kind of put a twist on it. Brahms is like a guy that people don't really realize how messed up it was, what he did to the music compositionally. Because, you know, everybody was influenced by this, by what the gypsies were doing. The gypsies were kicking everybody's butt. But he took those ideas and he actually moved them around quite a bit in a way that everybody accepts what he does now, what he did now. But it's really kind of jacked up what he did in a good way.